All right, good evening, and thank you for joining our 2 cents. I'm Tom Sellers with my co-host, who's not on vacation this week, Frank Hostica. Frank, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous.
So, give us the thumbnail sketch of last week's excursion.
We were up in Door County, Wisconsin, being tourists, doing touristing, tasting
Very
some
nice.
wines and cheeses and things like that, and sitting out watching the sunset over Green Bay, campfires, all that kind of fun stuff. We had a nice time. Hit a golf ball, chased a golf ball around. Actually, chased several golf balls around because lost a few of them along the way.
Sure.
But yeah,
Very
and
nice.
came back in one piece.
Even better. So, the world wants to know, when are you scheduled on your next outing?
Um,
I'm joking.
September 25th.
Oh, we got you for a month.
Yeah.
Very nice. Alrighty. Well, again, thanks for joining us. If you would, if you haven't yet, share this episode. I have got some cool stuff we're going to give away throughout the course of the program here. So, best idea to do is make chances for everybody. Get this shared out there. So today we have a genuine celebrity. If you live out here, this is a guy who has multiple things going on. He has his own business. We're going to talk to him about. He's also got a regular 9 to 5 type gig, though I don't know that any of us work 9 to 5. I don't think he does either. Guy who knows a little bit about basketball. I know this for a fact. So without further fluffing of his ego, though we'll do that if that's what it takes. Welcome our friend Kent Jones, otherwise known as Deke. Deke, how are you?
I'm well. I'm excited. Not too often am I on this side of the microphone, so I can just sit back, relax, and have fun tonight.
Very nice. Carol, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Well, good. Where are you right now? I know, but our listeners probably don't.
Coming to you live from Studio A at 216 The Net. This is
Very nice.
I worked from home all day today, so to do the show, I said I'm going to get out of the house. Came over to the studio so that you could have some good sound quality anyway, and no dogs barking in the background. So
very nice, very nice. Frank, you were saying something about live high atop
the Tunyon Brothers building.
That's right.
In beautiful downtown McHenry, Illinois.
Suite 202.
Very nice.
Thanks for the introduction. Make a guy who can't hold a job sound like he's doing good.
Oh, stop. Yeah, kind of going to that point. If you are in our neck of the woods here in the northern Illinois, southern tip of Wisconsin, you know who Kent Jones is. You have run into him at a Chamber of Commerce mixer. Maybe you played some golf with him. You probably talked basketball if you spent any time talking to him at all. So we are real glad to have him on the show tonight. So, Kent, tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, you know what? Frank is close to where I grew up. I grew up over in Iowa, so he's moved out towards the Iowa way. Grew up in Iowa and down in Burlington, Iowa, down in southeast Iowa is really where all my teenage years were, and went to school across the river there in Clinton, Iowa, and played some college basketball, and then got into the world of construction at a young age, building houses, got married, settled down, and then my entrepreneur bug kicked in, and my wife and I moved out to Illinois to start a coffee shop down if you're an old timer around here, at the old Huntley Outlet Mall, which isn't there anymore, but and neither is the coffee shop. But we came out and started Planet Coffee and had a blast with that. Made a few bad business decisions, good learning business decisions, and then that went under, and then got into the world of finance and banking, and spent several years there, and still always had that entrepreneur bug in me. And about 3 years ago, started what is now 216 The Net, which is an internet radio station. You can find us at www.216thenet.com. Or follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook. Our whole intent with this station here is to bring positive, uplifting things. We don't. There's enough yuck in the world, so our mantra has always been your daily dose of encouragement. And now you'll see we're real life internet radio, and that is the truth.
Very nice, very nice. And we're going to come back to that in a bit. I know Frank had a couple of questions he wanted to run by you. This is not the lightning round yet, but we'll get there.
Ding, ding. That's it.
Frank?
So, Ken, you mentioned, we mentioned that you've got a daytime job, and you're doing all right.
Yeah, yeah.
But sounds like a Dire Straits song.
So yeah. Tell us a little bit about your banking career, and how that's led to what you're doing now.
Yeah,
finance and that.
About 20 years in the banking industry. Most of it was on the retail side. So I was branch manager of several banking centers. We took care of all the deposits and personal loans and things like that. Along the way, I jumped out and got into the mortgage industry at a couple different times, which I love. I absolutely love helping people financially with their home. So I don't sell the house, I sell the money for the house. And it's my job to find you the best deal that I can on that money, so that as you're there for whether it's 10 years, 20, 15, 30, you can sleep at night knowing that you've got the best deal and the best thing you can. I popped out away from the banking industry in 2019, and kind of got back into some sales with, selling some websites and SEO and things like that with a local company, and kind of learned and found my groove again in sales. And then Blackhawk Bank, which is headquartered out of Beloit, Wisconsin, tapped me on the shoulder and made an offer that my wife couldn't refuse. And now we're back doing mortgages here in the northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin area, handling banking centers in Island Lake, Richmond, and McHenry. So, and it's a true joy. It's a passion of mine, and I absolutely love what I do, because I don't look at it as a loan. I speak financially with the people. What are we trying to do financially? And so when we know what we want to do financially, that's when we can figure out the best avenue to take.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you're kind of busy over there right now.
God is so good. I started with the company in March 1st, and of course the pandemic hit and the bank closed March 16th. Now we are essential workers, and the nice thing is the interest rates have been so low and the housing market's been so hot. It was really a God thing that I was in the right place, the right time, and we've been very, 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 very busy. And, the cool thing is, at this small bank, there's 9 mortgage planners who do what I do. And we just closed our 1,000th loan of the year last week. So that's a lot of loans between 9 people in about 7 months.
That's a ton of paper.
Yeah. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in there. But I love just helping people financially understand what they're doing, how they're doing it. And it's okay to let people know, you know what, we may want to put the brakes on and wait 6 or 7 months, save up a little bit more money, and put you in a little better position. So there's I just love having those conversations with people to help them understand that they don't have to jump right now, perhaps, but if they just hang in there and wait a little bit, they might get a better deal down the road.
Awesome. Very good. So cool. And then, so along the way, and we met, you and I, a handful of years ago, when you were in a different position at a different bank.
Yeah.
And I was in a position as the membership director for the Chamber of Commerce in McHenry. And we started a conversation, a couple of conversations. And that's when I learned about what you really wanted to do when you grew up.
Yeah.
And that was, have a radio station and do some things and get out and use those golden pipes of yours to
I'm going to stop you right there, Frank. I'm sorry. I believe you, but here's the thing. If you've known this guy, and you've probably known him a day or two more than me, his dream when he was going to grow up was to play for the Lakers. It had nothing to do with
right,
the
hands down.
Well, I understand that, but no, I'm talking about when I met him and we had not what he wanted to do 20 years earlier, what he wanted to do that day when we talked. So he was talking about radio and all that, and I told him, of course, I told him, you got a face for radio, dude.
That's right. And I do. It's nice. It shows well on the radio.
But the funny thing is, radio has become as visual as it is audio now. Right. It's kind of interesting how that's evolved as well. So, Kent, you had a little thing going out at a little tiny place out in Harvard at the point. You had something going on the radio, but you were looking to take it up a notch from there. So tell us how things kind of got from that. Hello, Kat.
And our second guest.
I can't decide to join us. Okay.
I don't know. It's hard to follow a cat butt, but let's do that.
Right.
They have a way of doing it.
Here's my tail.
We talked a little bit, and I love the good content, and I love personal development, and we were at the Black Diamond Mixer on Flag Day, and you're like, well, I got to introduce you to somebody, and you introduced me to Tim Stewart, and at that time, he was bald, and we created two bald guys and a microphone. And it was a great show, and we were out at 101.3 FM in Harvard every Monday morning from 6 to 8 it started, and we would travel out to that little country station and just try to bring good content, positive self-help topics to people in the area. Shortly after we started, about 6 months after we started, they're like, you're our number one show, and we would love it if you guys, can you do 3 hours? So it went from 6 to 9 then, and we picked up Rancher Ron, who was down in Texas, and he became a big part of the show, and it just grew, and we kind of just had fun for about a year and a half out there in Harvard, and two bald guys and a microphone kind of became pretty big.
And became a thing, that's for sure.
Yeah. And, and it's interesting today as I look on Facebook and watch some things that, people are still signing up to follow two bald guys and a microphone. And we've been off the air now for a year and a half, so right. The interesting thing is, it's that good that people still are clicking in and watching the old shows and things like that. And it was great, great timing, great energy. The three of us, and Frank, you were on quite a bit. Tom, you too. just had a great timing for jokes and puns, and I learned a lot about life and a lot about good things. And what always fascinated me was people like, wow, you ask all the best questions, and all I wanted to do was learn. We had all these great entrepreneurs, authors, people on, and I wanted to learn what they were doing and how they were doing it. So it was easy to ask questions, just to learn. And as it grew, the three of us looked at each other and said, maybe we could create a radio station that just has all positive, good stuff going. And
that'll never work.
Yeah. We never said that, but we shouldn't have, because we didn't know. We did no research. We did nothing. We had no clue which direction was up, and we just jumped out. And our good friend Luke over at Sticker Dude gave us an 8x8 closet to make our studio, and that's
with no air conditioner, I might add.
there wasn't. and that's how we started 21.6 the net, and it was just a blast, and it was so frustrating. All three of us we loved being on the air, we loved doing the show, but all three of us were frustrated because we didn't know how to run run a radio station, and we just we looked like the Three Stooges, I'm sure, not knowing what to charge, who to charge, who's in charge. It was weird for the first for about the first year. So,
and here you are.
Well, and I guess I would kind of disagree that it didn't look like you had any idea. You did. The content was very good. The shows you had and your guys' own show were highly watched.
Yeah.
From a business standpoint, yeah, maybe there was some things to learn, but that's kind of the path of the entrepreneur, I would venture to say.
Yeah.
And Tom, I was going to bring up that point for those listening. There's the key piece there. When you're an entrepreneur, you got an idea, you've got something, you want to do it. You don't go, oh, this will never work, or it might work or not. No, let's just do it and see what happens, and we'll figure it out later. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. That's how they get started. And for everyone that succeeds, there's dozens that fail.
Yeah.
Ones that stick to it and keep figuring it out, have some success. And you're a testament to that. So now tell us. So now where's 21.6 in that?
Well, so the interesting thing is that's true. We never gave up. We kept running into walls. We tried different things. We took two ball guys and a microphone and did it 5 days a week for 2 months, and without any writers or producers or anything of that nature. And of course, Tim is such a good storyteller, and he is the quintessential I'm going to show up and it'll be good just because I show up, and it was. And I'm the quintessential guy that's like, I have to structure this entire show and know what I'm talking about and stay on point. Otherwise, squirrel and I'm gone. So for 2 months, you're up until midnight putting a show together, and then getting up at 4 a.m. to get in to make sure the show goes live at 6 a.m. And
you mean like show notes and stuff?
Oh yeah, exactly. And finally, we were just kind of killing ourselves, and we said, it worked really good when it was Monday for 3 hours, didn't it? And so we went back to that, and we looked for more shows, and we picked up a great show called Not Done Yet. We picked up a sports show. We had a couple of shows from the Texas area, and it started to grow a little bit. And then along the way, one thing that you always want to do is you always want to follow your passion. And along the way, Tim said, I want to go back to public speaking and coaching. And this has taken up a lot of my time. So he bowed out of the business, and we bought him out. So then it was just Ron and I running this. And Ron was just a masterful businessman. And he was incredible. And then on Father's Day of 2019, he was diagnosed with inoperable liver cancer. And so in July, I bought him out in 2019, and I was very, very excited, very, very excited, because now I've got my own business. It's doing okay, and now this is what I can do for a living, and I'm excited about that. So about 4 days after I said that, I realized what I was not good at. And that was everything that Ron was good at. And that's why we work so well together. And I'm just like, I don't know, this, talking with my wife, I never doubted the platform, never doubted the business, just doubted, or started to understand, I guess not doubted, but understood what my strengths were and what they weren't. And so Peter Galt had done some voiceover work for us and some commercials and things like that. And he was kind of involved, but he always wanted to start and be part of it. So one day I sat down with Pete and slid him a piece of paper across the desk with a number on it. And he goes, I'll double that. And then he came in, and so now Peter Galt and I are the owners of this business, and he is the quintessential business guy. I'm the good looking guy that is the good looking guy. So Pete's really the law.
Pete's watching right now, so be careful with that good looking guy thing.
Yeah. So Pete is the chief operating officer, and he does a great job. And I'm out there pushing sales and trying to do the funny stuff that I always do and bring in business. And after several attempts to figure this business out, it was because of COVID that and the pandemic that Pete and I really struck oil. And it turned our entire business model around, and now, as I said, this week, I think, in the last 2 weeks, I guess we've started 6 new shows. We've got 4 or 5 new advertising people coming aboard. So things are now starting that snowball we've been pushing up the hill for the last 2.5 years is starting to roll down the other side now, which is good.
And we want to say hi to Peter and thank you for joining us. We're going to take our first commercial break. For those of you who have been paying attention the last couple of weeks, I said this was coming, and here it is.
Drum roll.
Hey, business owners, have you ever been treated unfairly? Signed a contract that you didn't understand? Have customers who haven't paid you? I'm Frank with Hostica Assurance, and we want to level the playing field. Your business can have 24/7 access to an attorney for an annual cost which is less than 1 hour of an attorney billing fee. 815-347-0181. Hostica Assurance. We keep the stressing and the guessing out of your business legal matters. Hey, business owners, have you ever been treated unfairly? Signed a contract that you didn't understand?
Hey, I paid for 2 spots. I wasn't supposed to. They weren't supposed to go back to back though. But hey, my phone's ringing. My phone's ringing. No.
There it is.
Hello, Mom. Yeah, my mom's calling. Hello.
She's been treated unfairly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You signed a contract you did not understand.
Many times my mother was treated unfairly by me. But yeah, that's besides the point. Never mind.
All right. My apologies. I'm not sure what exactly technically happened, but I will figure it out.
Hey, it looked good from where I was.
Yeah, it's a nice spot. And Peter says so. Thank you, Peter. So let's pick up with 21.6. You were talking about you dialed everything in not primarily, but during COVID, you're like, hey, wait a minute, I've got an idea, and I know what you did. And we've been actually kind of talking about that a little bit on our spots about helping, especially business owners, get through this whole thing. And you hit pay dirt, so go through that with us real quick.
Well, Pete and I, we talk all the time, and we try to figure out which direction we're headed. And a lot of times he's got to grab me by the collar and drag me a little bit because I don't know which direction I'm headed. But when COVID and the pandemic hit, that was our oh crap moment, really, because our livelihood depends on that advertising money. Depends on how many people are listening and how many shows that we have that are unique with good content. And when everything came screeching to a halt, and a lot of the businesses that we deal with weren't open, weren't generating any revenue, we looked at each other like, okay, what now? And what we decided to do was, instead of worry about our rent and overhead and pay and those things, is we said, how do we help out small businesses that are closed, that are non-essential? And what we decided to do is we put out there on Facebook and to the chambers and everywhere else we could think of to say, listen, if you have a small business, send us a 30-second spot and we will run that spot 4 times a day for you and it's absolutely free. We're going to do this absolutely free until we're able to go back to work. And it started slowly. But then it started picking up steam, and we had a good handful, a couple handfuls of small businesses who sent us their commercials, and we played them religiously 4 times a day, every day, so that they could be heard. We've got here at 21.6 The Net, we've got 1.8 million listeners around the world. We've got 1.4 million of those listeners right here in the Chicago and Milwaukee land area. So we were reaching.
Wait. Let's back up for 1 darn minute here, sir. So you guys started this radio station roughly, let's call it 3 years ago. I know it wasn't quite that long ago. With a listener base of approximately how many?
5. I mean, we had, we had none when we first started. I mean, it was the loyal listeners of Not Done Yet. It was the loyal listeners of 2 bald guys and a microphone. So a handful. I mean, we didn't even have 100 people following us on Facebook at that time. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. So in less than 3 years, from 0 to 1.8 million.
Yep. Yeah. That's crazy.
That's 1.8 million. That's not a small number. Yeah. So as a guy who knows the guy who does that Not Done Yet show,
yeah,
I can attest that, I've been on that show's been on the air 2.5 years now. And back when we first started, I think we had 6 people that showed up every single week.
Mhm.
And now, because of the power of your platform, we have tens of thousands that have tuned in or tune in regularly.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So, how did you how did you get that kind of growth?
Really, the big change for us was we went out and when we were young in the business, uh, with the original group of people, we didn't want to spend any money, so we didn't. And the first thing that we did when Peter came on board is we spent some money to get our ASCAP music license, and we started playing music. So we added music to the mix of talk shows and podcasts and things that we have on air, and I think that's what started bringing people in. Now, Peter and I said that what we're not going to be is a genre station. You're not going to just tune in and listen to the same country songs or the same rock and roll songs. So we literally will play anything once. But no, I'm a country guy, so yesterday was a brilliant morning. Uncle Pete in the morning had country, but last week to finish up July, we had Christmas in July, so we played all Christmas songs. And now, instead of just talk shows throughout the day, you're going to hear some music injected into there. So music I think I would say is the biggest attribute to why, well, one of them that drove us from really the year before only having maybe a couple 100,000 listeners to the 1.8 was music. So we started spending some money on our business wisely. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
So, obviously you're experiencing some success, some pretty impressive growth there in the numbers of listeners. So what other than what you've already shared with us about what's worked recently, what else has worked and what's worked not so well?
I think what also works well is I think people are just tired of all the crap that's out there in the world. That's why our 2 cents does well. People want to tune in to things that are entertaining and are good quality and give good content. I don't always want to tune into something and hear people yelling and saying one side of the country is crap and the other side is great, and you turn the channel and the other side is great and the other side is crap. So I think people are tired of all the nonsense out there. So you can come to 21.6. You can come to places like our 2 cents podcast and get good quality without getting that banter of people hating America. Because I still think too many people love America, and what we have here at 21.6 is 100% American. I mean, I think that's a good thing. And what's really worked was just putting ourselves out there with not expecting anything in return to for those small businesses during COVID, and we said we're going to do it until we were, the governor allowed us to go back out, and we did, and a lot of the people have stayed with us, which is great. So it's it's cliche, and I hate it, but the more you serve other people, the more successful you become. And I hate those cliches, but it truly that's what turned the corner for us. And then we realized that our station was designed for small businesses, and so we came up with an advertising package, which is small budget, big reach, and for a very, very small amount each month, you can get in front of those 1.8 million listeners and be back up here on the wall behind me, so you can brand yourself and see yourself as well. So that's worked very, 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 very well. What hasn't worked for us is trying to bring in the whale. When we first started, and you guys know this, our prices were crazy high because we didn't know, and we're like, hey, we've got things we've got to pay for, so let's set the prices high, because that's what radio stations do. But we don't have the big personalities to pay for. We don't have the FCC, to pay for. So our overhead's tremendously lower than theirs. So why shouldn't our prices be? So really,
wait, you're saying I'm not a big personality? Deke?
oh yeah, well, I don't pay for it. Hey, yeah, well, your co-host Robbie's probably a bigger personality with some of those posts he has out there on Facebook.
Don't get me started.
I love him. He and I have fun out there. It's good. But the truth of the matter is what didn't work was when we were trying to fill our pockets. And now what's working is, I mean, we'll take 1,000 smallmouth bass compared to one big whale. And it seems to be working out for us.
Awesome. Very good.
Yeah.
So again,
we'll also put the whale in the boat, guys. Don't get me wrong. If the whale's out there listening right now, we'll take it.
Well, that's what the net for.
That's right.
At the net for that.
And if you are out there, would you please, in your email, when you email Kent at 216thenet.com, please title that email "I am the whale." That will get you preference.
And saw you on R2 cents.
Otherwise,
take care of R2 cents too.
Without opening it. So.
So, I've Not Done Yet. I'm one of the guys from Not Done Yet. We have really, really enjoyed our time with you guys so far, and it's been fun to watch this more or less from the ground up, and the things that have gone from, like you said, the out in Harvard. Now, I wasn't part of this. I didn't have a show in Harvard. I remember going out there a couple of times to be on Not Two Bald Guys, and I'm like, who in God's name? Where is this place? I left yesterday.
Driving through a snowstorm. That's it. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I remember the being over Sticker Dude's place, and Luke's a hell of a good guy, really is.
Yeah.
Very nice to put that deal together for you guys. But like you say, it was a closet without air conditioning. But we had fun there. Even I mean, doing shows there was fun also. And then when you guys got over to where you are now, high atop the Tunyon building, I remember walking into that studio the first time to do our first show from there. I'm like, wow, there's the green room. Yeah. There's the fruit plate.
Yeah, right. We had a sink.
There was a coffee pot.
Yeah,
there was. There was a coffee pot. Now they got like 3-4 of them.
Yeah,
that's right.
And a drum set.
Well, we got rid of the drum set, but we do have a keyboard in here now. It's nice.
Okay. Right. And microphones.
That's right.
So we still got a good bit of time left. I'm going to kick out the second commercial because I'm enjoying this conversation, as is Frank. And I want to, I'll get to that later. Frank, I know you had another question and I have another one. So let's get to you.
So yeah, Ken, you're going, what do you see? Where do you see this going in the next 5 years? What's your plan? Where do you want to take this in the next 5 years?
That's probably a better question for Lana, the medium, on Saturday mornings here. Should be able to have you. You know what? The thing is we've got 24 hours a day, and Pete knows the exact number of minutes per year that we have to fill with broadcasting. We would love to get some foreign shows. We've kind of planted a seed with our good friend Gary over in Singapore.
Yeah, in Singapore, yep.
And hopefully we may have some music show coming from him. Last night on Your Home with Bremer and Jones, we had Danny Mitchell from the Hidden Pearl, who's the art director there, and I think there's going to be a nice marriage there with some talented individuals to get on there. 526,000 minutes, 600 minutes a year we have to fill. Right. So that's our job. Our job is really to take those 525,600 minutes so that we have shows going all the time. And once we get there, then we'll make a different plan and figure that out. Now, again, if do we want to be the next Ted Turner? Not necessarily, but we want to continue to make a difference in the world. We've got a platform that has grown that we can truly make a difference in the world just by staying positive and keeping our programming the way it is, bringing great programs. One of the funniest programs, if you guys haven't picked up on it today at noon, Wednesdays at noon, is Mike and Fran unscripted. I think it's unscripted, but it's a guy with his 93-year-old mother, and it is hilarious. It's just they just talk about random things, but those are the things that we're looking for. Those type of shows, those unique one-offs that you can tune in and go, "What am I listening to? This is hilarious," and just have a good time with that. And that's the immediate goal for the next 5 years. But in the same breath, we kind of know how to do it. But if someone were to come in and write us a really, really, really big check, then maybe I'd retire. I don't know. The next
we're back on that whale conversation.
Yeah, right. Right.
What about what's in your loaf? Come on.
So
near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, Mike and Fran Unrehearsed, Wednesdays at noon. Yeah. You see, I've got the producer over there. He's filling us in.
Thank you, Peter.
So What's in Your Loaf is a funny show and a funny story. It's run by the highest ranking Blue Fez delegates. They're big BFDs, and it's a show that just kind of makes fun of the world a little bit. It's a show where sometimes we just enjoy the food that's there. Sometimes we talk about nonsensical things, but Deke and Skeet really just it's a show just to make fun of life. And that oddly enough is right now our highest listened to and highest watched show. And
I'm not surprised.
And that's on Friday mornings from 7:15 to 8. People are like 7:15, and why not 7:15
a.m. And while I have a minute, though he's not with us, he is certainly here helping us. Let me introduce Peter Galt, your partner. Peter is a great guy. Again, if you're from this area, you've probably already met him. But he's a guy who, if you are looking for a job, he can get you placed. There he is. There's Peter right there. He's done voiceover. In fact, he did commercials for my company a couple of years back. He's podcasting all the time. He's the DJ of the shows or the station, as far as I can see. And it was funny. I guess it was a couple weeks ago. Now I know Peter for several years with that red beard, and all of a sudden I jumped on Facebook early in the morning, and there's Peter doing his morning music show, and I did. I typed. It's like, who's the new guy? He'd shaved it all off.
Look like Otis.
So yeah, Peter's another guy that you really would like to know, and you can, I'm sure, catch him at 21/6 the net as well.
Tune in to 21/6 the net and listen to.
Thank God that thing's grown back. It was creepy for a while. It was even worse that he was driving around a white panel van for a couple of weeks. I don't know. It was weird.
No one knows.
Living down by the river.
Down.
So what would you? Yeah, we got to get serious for a minute anyway. Otherwise,
Sure.
Nobody's going to watch this. I am not that funny. So you've been you've been an entrepreneur several different ways, and you've learned something from all of them. That's what we do. If I can count the number of times I fell on my face, I'd be, if I had $1 for them, I wouldn't have to work anymore. But what would your advice be to somebody who's watching this show thinking, I want to try that? And I don't care what it is, a radio station, a podcast, or just something out of their norm. And they just want to go out and make their own money and live life by their own terms. What would your advice be to them?
So the best way that I can say this is it's like fishing. You have to cast. You're not going to catch any fish if you don't cast, right? So
Sure.
every business out there, every multi-level business out there, every non-multi-level business out there works. You don't, right? So, but you're going to meet people along the way that will inspire you and keep you casting. And you have to keep throwing your bait out there to find one that catches and that you absolutely love. I've been a part of just about every multi-level business there is, and I know people who are millionaires in each one. I'll never poo-poo them, but what I'll tell people, they're not for me. I've tried it. That's not who I am. But go for it, because you can make a good living at it. And that's why I say all those businesses work. I don't in them. So there's a uniqueness to it, and a way that you got to understand who you are. I marvel. I get up every day. I'm very grateful to be able to have 21/6 the net, because I don't understand it. I just know it's become part of me. It's become part of my family. It's become part of my DNA. And the fun thing is it's just now starting to work, and I've never doubted that it would. I just knew that we would keep trying until we figured it out. And there's been times, don't get me wrong, there's been times where we've set dates that said, hey, if we don't see anything rolling by this date, who we kidding? And when that date came, things were rolling. So you have to always have those checks and balances, but I don't know why this works. I'm happy that it does. I think that God has placed this platform here and given it to me to make a difference in the world. And now the fun thing is, Peter and I now are starting to look at some new shows and new edgier shows that will make people think a little bit more. We're having a new show is coming out on the 14th, on Friday the 14th, called Bridging Civil Tension. And it's going to be a show with Phil Wallace, who is a local entrepreneur and author. He's African American, and myself and other guests where we're going to talk about the things that people are afraid to talk about today. We're going to talk about racism. We're going to talk about COVID. We're going to talk about LGBTQ. We're going to talk about police brutality, and we're going to have current police and retired police in here to talk about their, their thoughts on police reform. And we're going to stay away from politics, and we're going to stay away from news, but we're going to tackle the tougher topics. And the reason for that is, again, we've got the platform. We've got 1.8 million listeners, and we want to see that grow. And I think by challenging and pushing the envelope with some shows and thoughts, that's gonna help us grow. And you always want to have just a little bit of edge to you when you're an entrepreneur. You don't have to be a prick, but you got to have that edge to make yourself a little bit different and stand out. If they're not hitting worms, put a jig bait on it, put a spinner bait on it, something, change the bait, but keep casting. And if you're out there
in the middle of the and grab them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, did you see that kid caught a 70-pound catfish over here at the dam the other day?
I'm not surprised.
It was huge. But the thing is there's going to be people who tell you it's not going to work, it's not, or it's cute or whatever. And you still got to land it and bring it in the boat and try it, and you just know that all the people who say being an entrepreneur doesn't work are the ones who've just given up and probably failed at something. I moved my family out here. We sold our house, put everything into a U-Haul truck, and didn't even have a place to live out here back in 1997. And just drove to Illinois to start a coffee shop. And we've been here since. So I've had businesses fail. Many businesses fail, and you realize what you're good at, what you're not. Now, I should have listened to all my elementary and junior high and high school teachers who kept saying you talk too much, and should have said, well, shit, maybe I should go into a business where I use my voice then.
There you go. They're trying to tell you something.
That's right. But yeah, just know, don't get upset if it doesn't work. You're going to strike out. You're going to find businesses, and you're going to meet people who are very, very successful at those businesses who make it look easy. But any business entrepreneur, it's a lot of work. But know that those businesses work. You just may not inside of that business.
And I think the moral of the story, at least what I'm hearing, which is sometimes what I want to hear, just ask my wife. But I think the moral of the story is, regardless of what it is, if you've made a decision that I'm going to live life on my terms, and that includes how I make my living, find something and keep pushing it. Learn everything you can learn about it, implement it. And like you said you guys had a couple of conversations that, if by this date, well, what if by this date means is I now have a goal, which is essentially what I need to have by a deadline. And like you just said, those deadlines would come and you guys were okay. So you move the deadline to something else. Or you reimagine the goal and you have a new goal now. And I think that is true of, everyone that is sitting within this podcast right now, and many of those out in our audience listening. We all know that how you do this, regardless of what it is, radio station, marketing company, insurance company, I don't care what it is. Once a decision is made, two things happen. Where do I gain the knowledge? Who do I talk to gain that knowledge? And once I have that knowledge, how do I implement it? And bigger than all three of those is knowing that it will work if you do. Did I miss anything?
No, that's right on the knuckles.
Got it. Absolutely. Persistence. And I think the three of us are pretty good examples of persistence. I think we've, all been there, as well as a lot of other people we know. You got to stick with it. Doesn't always work first time, but if you got to believe and you keep chugging along, and it works. But yes, you do have to put in the work.
And the other thing, I mean, and all three of us are the same way too, is, you taking care of your family is your number one goal. And
right.
You're going to have another grind. You're going to, don't give up your day job, exactly. figure out a way that you're going to put in the hours to fight for your own business. But if you ain't got any money coming in, don't leave your day job. Stay grinding, because you have to take care of your family. And I think the universe will reward that. God will reward that. And just know that the last thing you want to do to your spouse is walk home and go, well, I quit the job. We've got zero income coming in, but I'm going to make it. Those aren't good conversations.
Nope.
But they happen, and I'm proof of that.
I've done
it. I did have that conversation 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I got the response I was expecting. You did what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fortunately, I am the kind that I will keep fighting, and that's what being an entrepreneur is. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep gaining ground. 1 inch or 1 yard. What's that?
Not done yet.
Yeah.
Never. Not done yet. Not done yet. I'm chugging along. We got a couple of Scott Ritt. Thanks for tuning in. Tim Santos, thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. And before we... I'm sorry, who?
I said like it and share it.
That's it.
Absolutely. Please do. Please share this. Let's get this word out. As we do with all guests, and you would be no different, Mr. Deek, you will be getting a custom set of...
Whoa, look at that.
Nice. Those are great too for you for your home podcasters. Those are great for underneath your microphones as well. Takes a lot of vibration away.
There you go.
Exactly, or your coffee or beverage of choice. In addition, because we are big time, you are also going to get. Let me get this in here. Now I know we had overdubbing there of some kind, but you will also get a 30-second animated and voiced over spot that we will play on this show for 21/6 the night. And you and I have a conversation, and we'll get that put together for you.
This is like the grand prize game. You guys just keep giving me good stuff.
I've been called Bozo before.
Parting gift.
Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Right. All right. And now, finally, before we get off, for those of you in the audience, and we thank every single one of you who has joined us, if you would, and here's what I'm looking for. I want to give away another one of these 30-second animated spots that we will build it for you. We'll send you the file. You can use it on social media. Maybe you can talk somebody at 21/6 into playing that thing for you there. Yeah. You can certainly talk us into playing it on our show. So in order to get one of these, and I'm going to pick 2 winners this week, you have to send an email to tsellers11@gmail.com. Go ahead, please.
Here's what I'll say. You let me know who those 2 winners are, and we'll air that 30-second spot for 30 days on 21/6 the net.
Bam.
Boom. Now hey,
1.8 million listeners.
Yeah. Hot dang.
Talk about a co-op deal there.
So 30-second spot, and then it getting played somewhere at no cost to you. That's a deal. That's a double deal.
Yes, it is. So you're going to have it in front of 1.8 million listeners on 21/6 the net, and at least 3 listeners on our 2 cents.
There you go.
I'm joking. We we normally have several hundred a week as well. So
Absolutely.
the first two that send us an email to tsellers11@gmail.com is going to, we're going to get one of these sent out to you. We'll talk to you, decide how it is you want this put together, and we'll get it done.
That's tsellers11.
That's SELLARS 11@gmail.com.
At the Gmail.
There you go. Hey, it's 8 o'clock.
Already.
It's 8 o'clock.
Very good. We're going to go about 2 minutes over.
Pumpkin.
Yeah, no, you're not being preempted by the president, so just keep going. You're fine.
No, and there's no. So as we close this down, Frank, any final thoughts you'd like to get out to the audience?
Thanks for listening. Keep on listening. Like it, share it, tell your friends about it. Tune into 216.net. A lot of great shows and content to listen to on that station as well. Kent, thank you to you for joining us tonight and sharing your stories with us. Really enjoyed it. Always enjoyed talking with you. And Uncle Pete out there, miss you on Friday mornings for coffee, man. But enjoy listening to you on the internet radio.
Absolutely. Well, Deke, it's been our pleasure having you on here and listening to words of wisdom and being so transparent about, well, these kind of things maybe didn't work, but these did, and your story of perseverance. Any last thoughts from you?
I want to thank you guys for having me on. This has been a blast, but thank you guys too for our 2 cents. The world of entrepreneurial grind is tough, and you guys bring a lot of positive to it and help a lot of people understand that it isn't easy, but hang in there because it can be done. So love our 2 cents, love what you guys are doing, and we'll come back anytime.
Very good. And we'd like to have you back, Deke. We appreciate it. And my final thoughts are this. What we do here, if you would share it, we would be most appreciative. I do want to give away these 30-second spots. I want to give both of them away. I want to give an opportunity to a business owner to get a little piece of advertising that isn't too bad when they're put together, and the opportunity to get your word out, your message out to a lot of people. So again, the first 2 who email me at tsellers11@gmail.com. tsellers.com is going to put these commercials together, do the voiceover for you, send you the file, and then I will talk with Mr. Jones, and we will be in touch with you about getting it into the rotation there. So I want to thank you again for joining us. We will see you again next week at our 2 cents. Thanks again, folks. See you next week.
Have a great night.